Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of WaifOut. We don't have a whiteboard anymore because I'm not at home anymore, but the hat remains. This is the only thing you need to know that I'm smart. It's been a while since I've done one of these because quite frankly I'm not always sure what I should talk about and how I should present the series to make it seem credible, I guess is the best word. But I did finally come up with a good idea that I feel works best for this type of series. I don't think I've really been mentioning it much on camera, although I did dedicate a whole live stream to it. But over the past couple months, I have gotten really into the Suikoden series. I just finished 2 last week, and they are really great games. Recommended if you're into RPGs. Super good. Each one of them involves recruiting 108 Stars of Destiny, which is a lot of important named characters. And it's pretty fair to say that a large number of them are female. Give me that many female characters, I start to think, how can we rank them? So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be taking all of the female Stars of Destiny specifically from Suikoden 1, and we are going to be ranking them from worst to best. Now I say Stars of Destiny specifically because we do only count the characters included in that roster. That means that the most important exclusion here is Odessa Silverberg. I know she's popular. I like her to an extent, but she's not a Star of Destiny, so we can't actually count her. And there's going to be a lot of cuts in this video because there's 24 characters to rank. I can't memorize all of them. I have a list up on my computer, so after each one, I'm going to have to turn to the computer, see who's next on the list, and hope I remember who they are to talk about them. Let's get started. At number 24, we have Esmeralda. Why is she at the bottom of the list? Because quite fucking frankly, she doesn't do shit. She's not attractive at all. She's a very old woman. She's not a playable character. You can't put her in your parties, so she has absolutely no combat potential. And she doesn't do anything once you recruit her. Not even like she does something worthless. She does nothing. She shows up, she sits on the roof, and that is it. She is a character with absolutely no redeeming factor to them whatsoever. That's a pretty good way to get yourself placed on the bottom of the list. Now, immediately above her is O'Neill. O'Neill, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm going to say O'Neill because I'm Irish. I'm used to saying that. She's also in a very similar spot to Esmeralda. Not attractive, not a party member, not helpful in the castle. But she ranks slightly above her because she does something. It's not important. She's like a rumor monger, so this ain't Persona 2, so it's not important. But she sits in your castle, and you can talk to her. She'll give you rumors going around the world, and maybe that'll be useful information to you. And we live in a world with the internet, so that's not important. But I guess I could see it having some sort of value, and it is something, so that's a slight step above, just barely. Immediately above that is Sarah. Now again, Sarah also falls into the category of not a party member, not helpful. I don't actually think she does anything in the castle. She does something in the story. She washes clothes, but that doesn't factor into the game in the slightest. And she's not unattractive, but she's very plain looking. So it's something at least to get her somewhere up there. But she still ranks really low for the simple reason of recruiting her is a pain in the ass. You ever play like Zelda? You ever do a trade quest where, hey, get this item for me. Oh, in order to get this item, I'm going to need this item. That's what they do. It's thankfully only limited to one town. It's like, hey, I need a bar of soap. Oh, I need a ruler. Oh, I need sugar. And you have to just keep going back and forth through this really small town, getting all of these items until you finally reach the end of the rope and you can start working your way back up. And then when you reach the top of the bar of soap first, she's like, oh, thanks, I found the bar of soap on my own. You didn't need to do anything, but you went out of your way for me, so I'll join your cause. Thank you for wasting my time. I really appreciate it. Next up is Melody. Melody, that's kind of how it's spelled, which, quite frankly, would be the best goddamn name for a bard ever in like a D&D game. Melody. Alright, remind me of that. I gotta use that someday. That is great. Okay, she's the person you go to talk to change the sound effects of your menus. Is that something you actually want to do? I guess it's an option in a game, so I can imagine people want to do it, but the problem is it's not just something you go into the settings menu to change. You have to find a character, you have to find the sound effects to change it into. It's way too much work for something that's not a big deal. If you play it like me and you just do cleanup towards the end of the game, you're not going to have her until the end of the game, at which point you've gotten used to the menu sounds, so you're not going to bother changing it. But she's there if you want to make your menu have like duck quacks, because Suikoden 1 is really weird about sound effects. Dragons sound like elephants in this game, alright? If you gotta make it sound stupid, and I understand if you do, that's fine. She's there for you. Next up, still pretty low on the list, which is kind of weird after playing Suikoden 2, is Apple. First off, it took me until Suikoden 2 to realize that Apple was a woman. I actually didn't notice. You know, she's not an important character in 1, so she doesn't talk much. People don't talk about her much. Her sprite is pretty androgynous. Her mugshot doesn't show enough. Her dialogue portrait, I suppose, doesn't show enough. I honestly thought she was a boy. So that's kind of a point taken from her. But there's also just the fact that she doesn't really do anything in this game. She's a student of Matthew, so he's your main strategist. You think that'd be important, but no, she does nothing. Again, after playing 2, where she is a major character, that's sort of disappointing, but yeah, she's just... We're hitting the point of the list where it's like, oh yeah, you were in this game, I don't care. It's not any sort of like hatred, it's just ambivalence. That's the point where we're at. It's how I live my life, in fact. So this is not a new feeling for me. Probably going to be plenty of people disagreeing with me on this one, but right up next is John. I don't know how you pronounce this name. I played Bayonetta 1 once, okay? I don't know how to pronounce this name. First off, Suikoden 1 doesn't make it clear that she's attractive. I honestly thought she was... I guess she is an old woman, but I thought she looked like an old woman in 1. All the later games are the ones that acknowledge, like, yeah, she's supposed to be incredibly attractive. Still not into it, but whatever. She does serve a very useful purpose in your castle. She's your rune master, so you get a rune, you go to her to attach it to yourself, which allows you to perform magic. The problem is, Suikoden 1 only gives each character 1 rune slot, so... Not to mention, some of the characters you have in your party come with runes pre-equipped that you can't remove, so... Honestly, if you play the game with a consistent party like I do, trying to keep them as strong as I can so I can stick with them throughout the whole game, you don't end up visiting Jean very much, because you don't need more runes. The characters that don't have runes pre-equipped to them, you put runes on them back in a town way back. And at this point, you're not changing yourself around because you have a good setup. The game isn't hard. You're perfectly comfortable with what you got. So you stick with what you have, and there's no point to talk to her. Aside from, that was the blacksmith. It was the blacksmith you talked to put like elemental rune pieces on your weapons. Yeah, in 1, I think so. So yeah, that's something else she doesn't help with. She serves a good purpose, but in this game, it's kind of worthless. You're not going to use it at all. Okay. Up next is Mina. Don't get confused. I'm not talking about the cat. I'm talking about the dancer. She dances. It's not exactly very interesting, but I rank her above other people on the list because, quite frankly, the dancing scene, the fact that she dances with Tia in that scene is kind of cute. I literally have nothing more to say about her. I'm not even into dancers. It's kind of a cute scene. And you need specific shoes in order to do it. So, it's something. Take what you can get here at this point in the list. Okay, hold on. I decided to actually check the... I have this Weekend Wiki on background here too, so I can remind myself who all the characters are. Apparently Mina is a playable character. You can put her in your party, which I guess doesn't surprise me. You can put everyone in your fucking party in 1, even if it wasn't a good idea. And according to the page, he has a very high magic stat. So if you're going for like a magic-oriented playstyle, I don't, but I know a lot. There are plenty of walkthroughs I've seen that do. She could be useful, assuming she doesn't have like horrible defense. I mean, you'd be putting her in the back row anyway, but with like all hitting magic, it's not too helpful if she just has bad defense. And so that gives her a good reason to be ranked where she is already. She does have notable combat potential. I didn't use it, but it's there. Alright then. Next up on the list is Eileen. I think she's the first story important character because she is the wife of Lepant, who's a manly man. Any woman who can marry a manly man like that, automatic respect, and she has his undying devotion. So obviously, I mean, she's got to be a good wife worthy of a manly man. I'm very much for that. Apparently not the greatest. I mean, I don't want to judge her motherly skills, but Sheena didn't turn out that great. Took me a while to realize Sheena was a man, in fact. So that's also a problem, but okay, it's not actually a problem. It's just Japan, man. Either way, she's mildly attractive. I think she's a party member. Yeah, I think she's a party member. I didn't use her. I used Lepant for a little bit, and then I got rid of him. But it's still something worth admiring. Manliness, any connection to it. Manly, good. Still in story significance, we have Kimberly. She's the forger who forges your papers to get past the border, I think. I could check, but I don't feel like it. And she also has a thing for the fisherman Tai-Ho. Yamku's blocking him, but whatever. And now we're hitting a part of the list where I can look at a character and be like, yeah, you know what, I think you're attractive. I like kind of her loose clothing style, very open. I think it looks pretty nice. And you know what, Tai-Ho's a good character. I think I read a walkthrough once saying like he's one of the best you can have in your party because of like a Fisherman Unite attack. I think that was him. So once again, you have a 1 degree of connection here. I'm sorry, I'm still not quite at the part of the list where I'm quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Talking about the woman's unique strengths on their own, but again, we haven't even hit the halfway point of the list yet, so that's the kind of thing you gotta work up for. You got 108 unique characters that can't all be winners, come on. Some shitty guys too, I just don't feel like ranking them, because that'd be 86, like 87... 77, no, 87, that'd be 87 people. Alright, that is a fucking long list, okay? Alright, you like elf girls? That's what Sylvena's for, I think. Is that what they're, like, classified as? Yeah, I think so. Elves. I think so. She's an elf girl. She's got, like, very bright pink hair. Not bright, but, like, a very light color. I kind of like it. And again, we're still at the point of the list where it's like you're the girlfriend of another character, except I don't really love Kirkus that much. He was okay in the part of the game where you had to use him, but I took him out of my party after that. I think she's a decent party member on her own. I never used her because she was in trouble, I think. It's been a little while since I played one. It's only been a couple months, but listen, I'm in school, right? I have other things to think about. Maybe I should use that as evidence that I should have done more research, but at the same time, if you didn't leave an impact on me, I'm not obligated to do more research. You didn't leave an impact on me. What am I supposed to do about that? I like your hair, though. Very cool color. Okay, next is Meg. I'm going to be 100% real. She's only ranked this high because she looks like a Sailor Moon character. In a world of Suikoden that is really out there, unique, bizarre, and instantly recognizable. And, you know, I'll also give her credit. She is like right in the town outside the castle by boat. And the only thing you need to recruit her is bring Juppo, her uncle, in the party to her. And that's all you need. So there's a good chance and she gives you a good hint when you talk to her without him in the party. So it's very likely that she's going to be one of the earlier optional recruits you get. So it's a good introduction to the system. Gives you a good taste of what's to come. So she serves a good tutorial role. Thank you, Sailor Scout. And now we're getting into the real fighters of the list. Next is Sonia Schumann. Yeah, I guess that is how you pronounce it. Sonia, whatever. Sonia Boyd. So she is a very late addition to the party. She's the last of the 5 great generals you recruit. Which, I mean, they're great generals. Actually, getting them is they're big deals in the Scarlet Moon Empire. So the fact that she holds that position, I think reading from like Wikipedia, she took over from someone else who's gone, I think. Something like that. I don't know. Listen, this is a very dense world, alright? And I'm only 2 games in. These things happen. But she also gets, I imagine she's probably pretty good in your party, even though I probably wouldn't use her just because you've spent the game building up other people. But she also gets this high just because of the implication that she very well might be your mother. I guess Tio McDowell slept with a lot of women, so when Tio was, I mean, I don't know how the fuck you don't know who the mother is, considering she's the one who gave birth to him, but I don't know, maybe he just never mentioned it and now he's dead. Sorry, spoilers. Should I have warned about that? I'm not really spoiling anything. Either way, so she very well might be your mother. She certainly doesn't act like it. I mean, it's not like she's been there your entire life. But let's be real. For all intents and purposes, Gremio's as Tio's mother. But it's an interesting implication that's suddenly thrown in there after the point where I'd completely forgotten about the idea. Like, oh yeah, I probably should have a mother. It's at least, I mean, something to think about at least. Next is Ronnie Bell. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot who she was until I was reading the wiki page and I was like, oh yeah, you, I remember you a little bit. Once again, the only reason she ranks so high is, I mean, I'd say personal preference, but honestly, that's this entire list in a nutshell. She is a very large woman. Like, she is tall, muscular. Is it wrong that I kind of like that? Not all the time, but sometimes you look at that. Very, very large. Put in the Steven Universe clip here. I'm not going to do that. I don't care. Did you know E.G. is 6'3"? Like, that is nuts. When I was reading that, I was like, Jesus Christ. We're getting off topic because we get in here. Big women. Not always a bad thing. Okay, now we're finally into the list of characters people would remember from playing the game. Tengar. I'm actually kind of surprised. I've spent the last couple of weeks, like, not even weeks, just like since I've been playing the first game, I've been looking up characters on Joe Boyle. I still have no idea how you pronounce it. And that probably implicated me a fair bit. No way I go on there. Whatever. I'm a 22-year-old man. I do what I want. I really thought she'd be more popular. She's in the first 2 games. She's not like a full-on story main character, but she does command presence when in the parts where she's there. And she has a very distinct personality. She's I'd say a tsundere, but honestly it's more tsum. Like, very angry. I kind of like, not angry, just demanding, I guess. Spoiled is what the wiki page describes her. And it was the wiki page or the TV tropes. One of them describes her as spoiled, and that's probably not wrong. But devoted, definitely that. And this was still in sort of the 95 was still sort of the early days of tsundere popularity. Like, I think Asuka the same year was the thing that was the catalyst that exploded it into mainstream popularity, at least in anime. So she's, I don't want to call her one of the forerunners because that would imply people of mass majority remember her, but I'd say she at least leaves an impact on Suikoden fans. And again, she apparently has a very good combat potential. Again, I see walkthroughs saying like, yeah, you should be using her towards the end game. I wasn't, but you can, and that's at least a good thing. I guess that's what happens when you come from the warrior village, which also means that she is much more useful than her boyfriend, who the game forces you to use, and who is the actual warrior that is being built up with his own arc. Lilite. Not the Little Witch Academia girl. She likes cats. I don't need anything else. She likes cats. Cats are really good. I like them too. I'm a cat person. And I was actually about to mention, like, this is the first time I'm filming one of these videos where I don't have to worry about my cat trying to get in. So, remembering you in Spirit Cats, Rote does a good job reminding me why I love them, at least being a spirit connection to my love of cats, I guess. This is a very high point on the list to put you for that, but whatever. She also kind of looks like someone else who's higher up on the list. I don't know why the hell they look so familiar. They're not related at all. What was I going to say again? Oh, yeah. I feel like the last episode of WaifOut basically revealed this already, but in case you need a reminder, I love Dragon Girls. I like more than anything else. I love them. Lilia is not a Dragon Girl, but she's a Dragon Rider Girl. And to be fair, that's only like one step away. Come on. It's pretty good. Again, you have to use her for part of the game, which at least lets you know that she is a fairly useful party member. And she's tough. She doesn't take things from anyone. She is independent on her own. And there are dragons. Around dragons. Anything dragons. Good stuff. You know, getting really high on the list, and I still can't properly defend anyone. This is more my fault than anyone else's. Why do I do this series again? This is why it's taken me a year. Has it? It's been a while, but this is why it's taken me so long to only make 3 episodes of this shit. Next is Lorelei. She appears in 3 Suikoden games. She's in 1, 2, and I think 5. I think was the other one she's in. She uses a different weapon every time for some reason. And honestly, despite the fact that she has to look you down and make sure you're a high enough level before she's even willing to join you, she's not that useful. I mean, there's other characters who can already do her job. So at this point, it's just kind of spite. Like, I built myself up for myself, not for you. But I'm good enough, so get the hell over here. But she does look very nice, I admit. The very long brown hair, I think, is a good look. I wonder why, but I like brown hair. It gives her a good look, and quite frankly, by the time she gets to Suikoden 5, she started wielding a whip, and I swear looking at art of her in that game, it's like I am looking at Castlevania art. I like Castlevania, so... Do you think it's possible to claim that Lorelei is a better Belmont girl than Sonia Belmont? Especially considering that game ain't canon anymore. There aren't any other female Belmonts, are there? I mean, aside from Cypher, I guess she married Trevor. She is a Belmont. Though she kept her last name, I suppose. I don't know. Okay. Now here's an odd thing. We're getting way up on the list on a series called WaifOut. Marie, I rank really high. She's not attractive at all. Maybe that's just my personal taste, but whatever. She's not attractive. Why the hell do I rank... She's not a party member. Why do I rank her so high on the list? Because she runs the inn at your castle, alright? Do you have any idea how useful it is to have someone you can just go to and be like, hey, I'm going to rest up here, get all my health and magic back, save my game, and be able to do it free of charge? Before this point, you have to... It takes a while before you can even get her, and until that point, you have to go to a nearby town and pay money to rest up your characters, and you're going to be doing it a lot, so... Having someone in your castle to fill that role is incredibly helpful. Not to mention, early in the game, she's willing to hide you when you've just become a fugitive for the Empire. So she proves her way... I don't know. She proves she's a good person that's willing to help you, and she's... Greg Minster doesn't... It should be a big town, but it honestly doesn't seem like it. And it's just PS1 limitations, but... I think it's definitely implied towards the beginning of the game that she's known you for a while. People are just moving in and out there. It is impossible. I'm going to have to be living on my own before I can just make these videos free of interruptions. Them's the breaks, I suppose. Here's another weird choice. Once again, Hellion, besides being an amazing name, is, again, another very old woman. Not attractive in the slightest. I'm pretty sure not a party member. She doesn't do anything once she's in the castle. So why am I ranking her so high? Because she gives you the blinking mirror, which is an item that lets you return to your castle at any time, so long as you're on the overworld. You can't be in a dungeon and using it. It is such a damn useful item. If you do what I do, and you do clean up for recruiting characters towards the end of the game, that is going to be vital to saving time. And I'll give you a hint free charge if you haven't played this game before. Put the blinking mirror in Tia's inventory, alright? I put it in Victor's and I kept it in there because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have Victor for the rest of the game. Then there's a big chunk towards the end of the game where he's gone. I'm like, ah, shit. I lost it. And I missed it so much. And when I got it back, I was like, thank God. I wanted Victor back, but I was like, give me back my blinking mirror. Give me. It's a super useful item. She gives it to you. And that is enough to earn my respect. On a similar note, immediately above her is Vicky, who fills a very similar role in that she does it the other way around. She goes into your castle, lives in there, and she's the way that you get to teleport to other locations from your castle. So you're going to be using these two a lot in tandem. Teleport somewhere, get the person you need there, teleport back. Save yourself a bunch of time. Vicky only ranks higher because she's also very attractive. They fill the same role, but one's cuter than the other. It's WaifOut, alright? I'm not expecting super deep character analysis here, even though it's what I was doing in the previous 2 episodes. I don't know what I want. No, I do know what I want. Whatever gets me views. Oh, wow, we are in the top 5 already. Yeah, we're into the characters I actually care about. Number 4 is Cleo. Now, she's an important one because she is part of your family. She's a servant, I guess, but whatever. It's a family. Come on. It's your family. From the start of the game, and I kept her in my party for most of the game because she took the role of my healer. And that was important because I want a healer. You always want to have a healer in your party. And she took that role, and honestly, I said Gremio was his mom, but Cleo takes the other role of his mom. She's, she cares about you. She always wants to protect you. And she's a pretty decent fighter with good magic stats to keep you healed up and protected. I honestly kept her in my party until the end of the game because of that. It's incredibly useful, and I'm happy to have her. Third is, now I remember everyone, I don't have to check the screen anymore. Third is Malaria. She's also ranked really high because I also kept her in my party for most of the game. She's basically, honestly, a better Victor. I just kept Victor in my party because first off, having 2 heavy-hitting sword wielders is better than 1. She's only better than him because he has the clone rune, which allows him to deal double damage but makes him unbalanced for the next turn, while she can do the same thing without any adverse effect. But either way, it's useful to have them both in the party because they're both incredibly good fighters. I would have kept her in there until endgame if the final dungeon didn't make me take Flick. And I just didn't have room for her anymore. Not to mention, she holds a very important position of power. She was a lieutenant that left because, surprisingly, the Scarlet Moon Empire is doing evil things. That's kind of what you're doing, and she decided she wasn't going to be a part of that. So good morals, good fighting, good looks. Basically the full package, except she's still only 3rd. Because we're getting higher. 2 is Camille. This is an odd choice, because for whatever reason, not many people care that much about Camille. Because she's not really... Honestly, I think she's a little more important than a lot of the other characters in Suikoden 1, a lot of the other minor characters at least, but she doesn't have too much, she doesn't have any sort of arc in the game, she doesn't appear in any of the sequels. She's just kind of there. So why the hell do I rank her so high? First off, again, party member until endgame. She was never the best, but at the very least, she did have good physical attack power, especially when you gave her an elemental rune piece. I gave her fire because she has red hair. It just seemed fitting. And either way, she can keep up with your endgame party members, which is honestly all you need. Quite frankly, I love the fact that this tough, no-nonsense woman with a spear works as a debt collector. It makes sense, but at the same time, it's just kind of a weird choice, and it makes me laugh. And finally, you get her towards the beginning of the game, and quite frankly, from the instant I met her, I was kind of smitten. I was like, gee, she is so hot. Like, actually, I seriously mean it, and it makes me really upset that there's no art of her, because I want art of her. I think she is incredibly attractive, and I want more love for her, but frankly, she's been forgotten. The series has been forgotten, and even within it, she's still such a small character, but I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. The only thing she's lacking that keeps her in 2nd place is that she's not a ninja girl. Number 1 is Kasumi. I love ninja girls. Not quite as much as dragon girls, but I love Ninja Girls so much. I really do. I don't know why, but I just love them so much. And Kasumi's got the rest of the package. She is extremely cute, which is basically that just means attractive for me. She's very competent in fighting. She's incredibly fast, and again, kept her in my party until endgame. Helps that she's a long-range fighter, so you can stick her in the back row where she won't be taking that much damage, and she can still deal out a bunch. What was I? Oh, she's really good in the war battles. I haven't been talking about these too much, just because honestly, there's nothing really much to write home about this Suikoden one. But she's really good in them because she's part of the ninja team, which is lets you see your opponent's next move, which considering the war battles in this game are just games of rock, paper, scissors, that is a vital piece of information to have, and she's another usage of it. There's also the fact that she's in love with you. Like, she has a big crush on Tia McDowell. She won't ever say it, she can't ever say it, but it's really obvious and it's super cute. And it's just kind of nice to know that, hey, I like you and you like me, so there's mutual love going on here that the game will never let happen, but it's there and I can feel it and it's important. And of course, the most vital piece of information, I have no idea whose idea this was. Character designer, sprites, artist, I have no idea whose idea this was, but whoever it is, you have my respect. Every single time she jumps forward to attack, I think, whether or not she's just attacking or she's using a Shrikeru suplex, which, that's another thing. She can suplex any enemy in the game, even the gigantic final boss, she can suplex. I don't know if it ever gets as crazy as suplexing a train in Final Fantasy VI, but quite frankly, it's a very close second. But either way, regardless of whether she's just attacking or suplexing everything, every time she moves forward, you see her underwear. I have no idea who decided to do that, but I love you, man. I love you. And of course, she comes back in Suikoden 2, so it was a very nice reunion that time too. And speaking of Suikoden 2, I have beaten that game, so at some point in the near future, I'll be doing this again for that game. Until then, I hope you'll see you there, and quite frankly, I hope you play Suikoden. It's not that expensive. It's $50 if you want a physical copy, but it's $6 on PSN, and I got it on sale for $3. Come on, buy it. You have something that can play PSN games, I'm sure. Play it. Get on it now.